Imagine witnessing a sea split in half, watching the sun stand still for an entire day, or seeing a man swallowed by a giant fish only to emerge alive days later. Science tells us these things are impossible, but the Bible, it records them as fact. Are these just ancient myths, or is there something beyond human understanding at play? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you see the world. For centuries, skeptics have tried to explain away the supernatural events in the Bible, searching for logical reasons behind miracles. But some stories defy explanation, no matter how hard science tries. In this video, we'll explore biblical events that challenge everything we know about nature, time, and reality itself. In this video, we're diving into some of the most mind-boggling miracles in the Bible that science still struggles to explain. And trust me, the last one will leave you questioning reality itself. 1. The parting of the Red Sea. One of the most famous miracles in history occurred when Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt. As Pharaoh's army chased them down, they found themselves trapped mountains on one side, the sea on the other. Then, something incredible happened. Exodus 14 verse 21 tells us, Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. Not muddy land, dry land. Scientists have proposed theories like a rare weather event called a wind set-down, which could theoretically push water aside. But here's the problem. This would take hours, and the water wouldn't rise in towering walls, as described in the Bible. And the timing. As soon as the Israelites crossed, the water came crashing back down, right on Pharaoh's army. If this were a natural event, what are the odds of it happening exactly when Moses raised his staff and then closing at the perfect moment? 2. The sun standing still. Joshua 10 verse 12 to 13 describes a battle where Joshua and the Israelites were winning, but they were running out of daylight. So Joshua prayed, and God made the sun stop in the sky for an entire day. Think about that for a second. If the Earth suddenly stopped rotating, modern physics tells us the results would be catastrophic. Oceans would surge, continents would be thrown into chaos, and gravity itself would be disrupted. Yet, the Bible describes a seamless pause, no destruction, no disasters, just an extended day. Interestingly, ancient civilizations around the world have stories of an unusually long day. The Chinese, the Egyptians, and even the Native Americans have records of a missing time event. Could they have witnessed the same miracle? Some theorists suggest an atmospheric illusion or a shift in time perception. But to pause the entire Earth's movement without consequence? Science has no answer for that. 3. Jonah and the Great Fish. Now, let's talk about one of the strangest survival stories ever recorded. Jonah, a prophet, disobeyed God's command and tried to escape by boarding a ship. But a violent storm came and he was thrown overboard, where he was swallowed by a giant fish and spent 3 days inside its belly before being spit out alive. Biologically, this should be impossible. Let's break it down. A human trapped in a whale's stomach would suffocate within minutes due to lack of oxygen. Digestive acids would begin breaking down the body. The sheer pressure and movement inside a whale would likely crush a person. Some skeptics argue that Jonah's fish was a metaphor, but the Bible describes it as a real event. Incredibly, there have been modern cases of people being swallowed by whales and surviving, though not for 3 days. But could a divine force have preserved Jonah inside the belly of the beast? 4. The floating axe head iron is heavy. It sinks in water. That's just basic science. Yet in 2 Kings 6, a prophet's apprentice accidentally drops his iron axe head into the Jordan River. Distressed because the axe was borrowed, he turns to the prophet Elisha for help. Elisha throws a stick into the river and the iron floats to the surface. Think about it. How could a heavy metal object rise in water? Even modern technology requires complex mechanisms like magnets or buoyant materials to make metal float. Some claim it was an illusion, but the Bible is clear. The axe head rose and was retrieved. No logical explanation can account for why it defied gravity. Was this a display of divine power over the laws of physics? 5. The incorruptible body of Moses. Here's something strange. Every major historical figure, kings, pharaohs, prophets, has a known burial site. But Moses? Nowhere to be found. Deuteronomy 34 verse 6 states, "He buried him in Moab, but to this day no one knows where his grave is." God himself buried Moses, and his body was never discovered. Why? In Jude 1:9, we learn that even the archangel Michael and Satan fought over Moses' body. But why would Satan care so much? Some believe God preserved Moses' body in a supernatural way, preventing corruption. Is it possible Moses was taken, much like Elijah, whose body was carried away in a chariot of fire? Could God have removed his body to prevent it from becoming an idol? No one knows. 6. Manna from heaven. Imagine waking up every morning to find food miraculously appearing on the ground, enough to feed an entire nation for 40 years. That's exactly what happened in Exodus 16. When the Israelites were wandering the desert with no food, God sent manna, a mysterious bread-like substance, every morning. Here's the strange part. It would spoil if kept overnight, except on the Sabbath, when it stayed fresh for 2 days. It appeared for 40 years non-stop and stopped the very day the Israelites entered the Promised Land. No known natural phenomenon explains its sudden appearance or disappearance. Scientists have speculated about natural resins or insect secretions, but nothing matches the description of manna, especially its supernatural properties. So what was it? A natural miracle, or something beyond human comprehension? 7. The fiery furnace. In Daniel 3, men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were thrown into a blazing furnace for refusing to worship King Nebuchadnezzar's golden idol. The fire was so hot that the soldiers throwing them in were instantly burned to death. Yet these 3 men walked inside the flames completely unharmed. And here's the most chilling part. A 4th figure appeared with them, described as like a son of the gods. Some suggest a protective chemical reaction, but no material known to man can make someone fireproof without burning their clothes, hair, or skin. Could this have been an angel? 8. Water turning into wine. In John 2, Jesus performed his first recorded miracle, turning water into wine at a wedding. Here's why this is mind-blowing. Water is 2 elements, hydrogen and oxygen. Wine contains sugars, acids, and alcohol, completely different chemical compounds. The process of fermentation takes weeks or months, yet it happened instantly. Not only was the transformation immediate, but the wine was of the highest quality, better than anything served before. No natural process can account for this. Science has no way to explain an instantaneous molecular transformation of this kind. 9. The raising of Lazarus. Can a man who's been dead for 4 days suddenly come back to life? According to John 11, Lazarus died. When Jesus arrived, Lazarus had already been buried, and his body had begun decomposing. His sister even warned, "Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead 4 days." Then, with just 3 words, "Lazarus, come forth," the dead man walked out of his tomb. Medically, resurrection is impossible once a body starts decomposing. Organs fail, the brain dies, and cells break down. Yet Lazarus was not only alive, but fully functional. Modern medicine has resuscitated people minutes or even hours after death under rare conditions. But 4 days? Science has no answer. 10. Balaam's talking donkey. What would you do if an animal suddenly turned to you and spoke in full sentences? That's exactly what happened in Numbers 22, 21-30, when Balaam, a prophet, was traveling to Moab. Balaam was riding his donkey when suddenly the animal stopped and refused to move forward. Frustrated, Balaam beat the donkey, but then something unbelievable happened. The donkey spoke and said, "What have I done to you to make you beat me these 3 times?" Imagine that for a second. This wasn't just a random noise or a supernatural growl. This was a full conversation. Balaam didn't even seem shocked. He responded as if talking to a donkey was completely normal. Now let's break this down. Science tells us that animals do not have the vocal structures or cognitive ability to form human words. Even with today's technology, we still can't make animals speak real human language without artificial devices. The Bible says the donkey saw an angel standing in the road, blocking the way. Balaam was blind to it, but the donkey wasn't. Was this divine intervention? Was the donkey temporarily given human intelligence? And if animals could talk for even a moment, what else are they capable of that we don't understand? Scientists have no way to explain this event, yet it's recorded as fact in the Bible. These are just a few of the miracles recorded in the Bible that continue to defy scientific explanation. Despite all our advancements, we still can't fully explain how they happened. So what do you think? Are these divine miracles, or is there a logical explanation we just haven't discovered yet? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more mind-blowing Bible mysteries, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you in the next video.